One look changes everything. Not a smile, not fear, just a pause so heavy it feels like the world stops breathing. In the Heartland season 20 trailer, Amy Fleming looks at a man we can barely see, and in that silent second, years of grief, strength, and buried longing rise to the surface. This is not the look of someone meeting a stranger. This is the look of a woman standing at the edge of a choice she has avoided for a long time. And the question is no longer if her life will change, but who this man really is, and what his presence will awaken inside her. Heartland. Season 20 does not begin with action or chaos. It begins with stillness. A stillness that feels intentional, almost unsettling. Amy Fleming stands grounded in a life she has carefully rebuilt, yet one unexpected presence threatens to shift everything she believes is stable. The trailer gives us very little information, but it gives us something far more powerful than answers. It gives us emotion. Raw, quiet, and unresolved. Amy is no longer the woman she once was. Loss reshaped her in ways that cannot be undone. After Ty's death, she did what she always does. She survived, she focused on Lindy, she held the ranch together, she carried her pain privately, and learned how to live without leaning on anyone else. But survival is not the same as healing, and Season 20 makes that distinction painfully clear. The Amy we see now is strong, but her strength feels heavy, like something she has been carrying alone for too long. Then comes him. The man in the trailer is not introduced with dialogue or explanation. He is introduced through Amy's reaction, and that is what makes him important. Her eyes do not show shock or curiosity alone. They show recognition, not necessarily of a person, but of a feeling. A feeling she thought she had put away for good, the kind of feeling that comes with risk, the kind that asks questions the heart is not ready to answer. What makes this moment so powerful is how carefully the show avoids clarity. We are not told his name, we are not told his past, we are not even shown him fully. Instead, the camera lets us sit inside Amy's emotional space, confused, guarded, drawn in despite herself. This is intentional. The mystery is not about who he is on paper. It is about what he represents in Amy's life. For years, Amy's identity has been shaped by responsibility. She is a mother first. Every choice she makes must protect Lindy. Every decision must consider stability, safety, and emotional balance. This is no longer a young woman chasing dreams. This is a mother guarding a fragile peace. And the arrival of this man challenges that peace, not because he brings danger, but because he brings possibility. Possibility is frightening when you have already lost everything once. There is something familiar about him, even in silence. Not in a romantic, dramatic way, but in a deeper, emotional sense. He does not feel like someone passing through. He feels rooted, as if he understands Heartland without being taught what it means. That matters. Heartland is not just land and horses. It is history, grief, love, and healing layered over generations. Anyone who steps into that space without respect is quickly rejected. This man does not feel like an outsider. He feels like someone who belongs, even if we do not yet know why. Amy senses this, and that is where the tension begins. Her heart reacts before her mind can protect her. She does not move toward him quickly. She does not smile or soften right away. Instead, she pauses. That pause carries weight. It tells us she is fighting an internal battle between what she wants and what she believes is safe. Season 20 is not asking the audience to forget Ty. It is not trying to erase the past or replace it. Instead, it asks a harder question. What comes after grief? What happens when love does not disappear, but life keeps moving forward anyway? The man in the trailer stands at the center of that question. Amy is not ready. And that is exactly why this story works. Her posture, her stillness, the way she watches him from a distance, all suggest caution. This is not excitement. It is awareness. Awareness that if she lets this person get close, something inside her will change. And change is dangerous when you have learned how to survive exactly as you are. The trailer's power comes from restraint. No dramatic music forcing emotion, no clear answers guiding the audience, just silence, glances, and unspoken tension. We are meant to feel what Amy feels. Uncertainty mixed with curiosity. fear mixed with something that feels like hope, even if she does not want to call it that. This man is not introduced as a love interest. He is introduced as a presence, a mirror reflecting something Amy has not looked at in years, the part of her that still believes in connection, in shared strength, in not having to carry everything alone. And that is what makes him dangerous in the most emotional way. Season 20 begins with a simple moment, but that moment sets the tone for everything that follows. This is not a story about sudden romance. It is a story about trust, about whether Amy can allow herself to feel again without betraying the love she has already lost, about whether strength can exist alongside vulnerability. The mystery is not just who this man is. The real mystery is who Amy will become now that he is here. What makes the presence of this man so unsettling is not what he does, but what he awakens. Heartland. Season 20 slowly reveals that Amy is no longer running from grief, but she has not fully made peace with it either. Grief has become part of her daily rhythm, woven into her routines, her decisions, and her silence. It no longer overwhelms her, but it still lives inside her. And now, with this man standing quietly in her world, that carefully managed balance begins to shift. Amy has learned how to function without needing anything from anyone. That independence was not a choice at first. It was survival. After Ty, she learned to close doors gently but firmly. Not out of bitterness, but out of protection. Loving deeply once taught her how much there was to lose. Season 20 shows us a woman who understands the cost of opening her heart, and that understanding makes every emotional step heavier than before. The man in the trailer does not arrive to disrupt her life loudly. He does not demand attention or explanations. His energy is calm, steady, and patient. That patience is what makes him dangerous. Amy is used to being needed. She is used to being strong for others. But she is not used to someone who simply stands beside her without asking her to be anything at all. This creates an unfamiliar emotional space, a space where Amy does not have to perform strength, where silence is not awkward but meaningful, where being seen does not feel like exposure but recognition. That kind of presence forces her to confront something she has been avoiding, the truth that strength without connection becomes loneliness over time. There is a quiet conflict growing inside her. One part of Amy wants to protect the life she has built. Lindy is her anchor. Every choice Amy makes now is filtered through one question. Will this keep my child safe? Emotional safety matters just as much as physical safety. Amy knows that letting someone close does not only affect her, it changes the emotional climate of her daughter's world. And that responsibility weighs heavily on her heart. At the same time, Amy feels something she has not allowed herself to feel in years. Curiosity, not about romance, but about possibility, about whether life can expand again instead of simply continuing. The presence of this man does not erase her past. Instead, it exists alongside it, and that is what confuses her most. She is not choosing between memory and future. She is being asked to hold both at the same time. The trailer suggests that this man understands more than he says. His silence feels intentional, respectful. He does not push Amy to explain herself. He does not ask her to move faster than she can. He allows her confusion to exist without trying to define it. That kind of emotional intelligence is rare, and Amy senses it immediately. It makes her feel safe. But safety itself can be terrifying when you are not sure you deserve it. There is also something familiar in the way he moves through Heartland. He does not walk like a visitor. He walks like someone who understands the weight of this place. Heartland has always been more than a ranch. It is where pain has been faced, where healing has taken time, and where love has left permanent marks. Anyone who enters that space becomes part of its emotional history. This man seems aware of that responsibility, and that awareness deepens Amy's internal struggle. Amy begins to feel pulled in two directions. One direction leads toward control, predictability, and emotional distance. The other leads toward uncertainty, vulnerability, and the risk of feeling deeply again. Neither choice feels simple. Neither feels safe in every way. This is the emotional tension Season 20 leans into. Not dramatic conflict, but internal pressure. The kind that builds slowly until it becomes impossible to ignore. There are moments where Amy catches herself watching him when she thinks no one notices. Not with longing, but with thoughtfulness, as if she is studying how he fits into the shape of her life. Other times, she pulls back emotionally, reminding herself of everything she has already survived. These shifts are subtle, but they reveal how deeply this presence is already affecting her. What makes this season different from previous ones is that Amy is no longer driven by impulse. She does not rush toward feeling. She questions it. She weighs it. She doubts herself. This is a woman who has lived enough to know that love is not just beautiful. It is responsibility. It is risk. It is the willingness to be changed by another person. The man becomes a mirror in this process, not because he defines her future, but because he reflects the parts of herself she has kept quiet, the part that still wants companionship, the part that misses sharing weight instead of carrying it alone, the part that wonders if healing can include joy without betrayal. Season 20 allows these questions to exist without answering them right away. The suspense is emotional, not situational. We are watching Amy stand at a crossroads she never planned to reach. One path keeps everything familiar. The other leads into unknown territory where pain and hope walk side by side. And the most unsettling truth is this: Amy's heart has already noticed the shift, even if her mind is still resisting it. As season 20 continues to unfold, it becomes clear that the most important conversations are not spoken out loud. The tension between Amy and this man lives in pauses, in glances held a second too long, in moments where words feel unnecessary or even dangerous. Heartland has always understood that silence can carry more truth than dialogue, and this season leans into that truth with remarkable restraint. Amy is no stranger to silence. After Ty, silence became her shield. It protected her from questions she could not answer and emotions she could not afford to face. But the silence surrounding this new man is different. It does not feel empty. It feels full, heavy with things unsaid, with emotions waiting for permission to exist. That difference unsettles her more than open confrontation ever could. This man does not try to fill the quiet. He does not rush to define what is happening between them. Instead, he allows the space to remain open, trusting Amy to move at her own pace. That patience creates a unique kind of tension. It removes pressure, but it also removes excuses. Amy cannot push him away by claiming she is being rushed. The choice to engage or retreat rests entirely with her. This is where the internal conflict deepens. Amy begins to realize that her hesitation is no longer about him. It is about herself, about whether she trusts her own heart after everything it has endured, about whether she believes that opening up again does not mean losing what she already holds dear. The silence forces her to confront these questions without distraction. There is also an emotional honesty in the way this man watches her, not with expectation, not with entitlement, but with awareness. He notices when she pulls back. He notices when she softens without realizing it. And instead of reacting, he adjusts. That sensitivity tells us something important. He is not here to claim space in her life. He is here to respect it. For Amy, this kind of emotional presence is unfamiliar territory. She has spent years being the steady one, the anchor, the person others rely on. Now she finds herself in moments where she does not have to explain, fix, or lead. Those moments are both relieving and frightening, because when you stop holding everything together, you are forced to feel what you have been holding back. The season subtly shows how this connection begins to affect Amy's sense of identity. She starts questioning the story she has been telling herself, the story that her life is complete as it is, the story that love belongs safely in the past, the story that strength means standing alone. None of these beliefs are false, but they are incomplete. And the presence of this man exposes the cracks. There is no rush toward romance here. Instead, there is a careful, emotional dance. Amy steps forward, then back. She allows closeness in small doses, a shared understanding, a quiet moment, a look that lingers. Each step forward feels significant because it costs her something. Vulnerability always does. What makes this dynamic so compelling is that it respects Amy's history. The show does not portray her hesitation as weakness. It treats it as wisdom earned through loss. Every pause, every hesitation is rooted in experience, And the man seems to understand that without needing it explained. That understanding builds trust, slowly and unevenly, but honestly. The suspense of season 20 lives in this emotional uncertainty. The audience is not waiting for a dramatic reveal or shocking twist. They are waiting for a moment of clarity, a moment when Amy allows herself to acknowledge what is already happening inside her. And that weight becomes almost unbearable because the signs are everywhere. Amy's attention shifts in subtle ways. Her thoughts drift, her reactions soften. Even when she tries to maintain emotional distance, something in her has already changed. The walls she built are no longer solid. They have become doors, cracked open just enough to let something new in. This man does not demand a future. He does not promise anything. And that is precisely why he feels safe. He offers presence instead of certainty, understanding instead of solutions. In a world where Amy has been forced to be strong, that quiet support feels revolutionary. Season 20 understands that real transformation does not arrive with noise. It arrives quietly, reshaping a person from the inside. Amy is not falling into something sudden. She is slowly remembering parts of herself she thought were gone. The part that believes connection does not have to end in loss. The part that dares to imagine a future that includes shared strength. The silence between them continues to speak louder than words. And with every unspoken moment, the question grows heavier. How long can Amy ignore what her heart already knows? As the emotional tension deepens, season 20 places Amy in the most difficult position she has faced since her loss. The conflict is no longer just internal. It begins to touch every part of her life, especially the part that matters most to her. Lindy. Amy's heart may be awakening, but her instincts as a mother are on constant alert. Love is no longer something she can explore freely. Every feeling must pass through responsibility first. Amy understands that letting someone into her life means letting them into her daughter's world as well. This changes everything. It is one thing to risk your own heart. It is another to risk a child's sense of safety. The weight of that responsibility makes Amy cautious to the point of restraint. She does not ask herself whether this man could make her happy. She asks whether his presence could disrupt the stability she has worked so hard to create. This is where the season's emotional complexity truly shines. Amy is not torn between two men. She is torn between two versions of herself, the woman who learned to survive alone and the woman who still longs for connection. Neither version is wrong. Both exist simultaneously, and reconciling them becomes the central struggle of the season. The man seems aware of this conflict without being told. He does not rush his way into Amy's life or Lindy's routines. He keeps a respectful distance, allowing trust to form naturally. That restraint speaks volumes. It suggests he understands that real connection is built slowly, especially in a life shaped by loss. His patience is not passive. It is intentional, and Amy feels that difference deeply. There are moments where Amy almost steps back completely. Moments where fear rises stronger than curiosity. Fear of comparison, fear of disappointment, fear of allowing hope to grow only to watch it collapse. These fears are not irrational. They are memories dressed as caution. And Amy listens to them carefully, even when they cost her emotional comfort. Yet, despite her resistance, the shift continues. The presence of this man begins to ease a weight Amy did not realize she was still carrying. Not because he solves her problems, but because he shares the emotional space around them. For the first time in a long while, Amy is not the only one holding everything together. That realization is subtle, but powerful. Season 20 explores the idea that desire does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it appears as relief. Relief at being understood. Relief at not having to explain your scars. Relief at realizing that strength does not disappear when it is shared. These quiet moments of relief become the foundation of Amy's growing emotional awareness. Lindy's quiet observations add another layer of tension. Children sense emotional shifts long before adults acknowledge them. Lindy notices changes in Amy's energy, her pauses, her distant moments of thought. This awareness forces Amy to confront her feelings more honestly. She cannot pretend nothing is changing when her child feels the difference. What makes this storyline so grounded is that Amy never stops questioning herself. She does not romanticize the situation. She does not rush toward happiness. She weighs every emotion against reality. This is not a story about chasing love. It is about choosing whether to allow space for it at all. The man does not position himself as a solution. He becomes something far more meaningful, a steady presence that allows Amy to explore her emotions without pressure. He does not demand certainty. He offers consistency. And in a life shaped by sudden loss, consistency becomes the most valuable form of trust. Season 20 shows us that responsibility and desire do not cancel each other out. They collide. And from that collision comes growth. Amy begins to realize that protecting her heart forever may also protect her from joy. That realization does not bring clarity. It brings discomfort. But discomfort is often the first sign of change.